Great. We're recording.
Awesome. Can't wait. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Steve McCabe, and this is my first podcast about being diagnosed with liver and lymph node cancer stage 4. Welcome to our first podcast, Just Diagnosed. The purpose of this podcast is sharing information from the very beginning and an honest and unfiltered look at the life after having being diagnosed with liver cancer. There are lots of things that go on when you have liver cancer, and there's no research out there, anyone I can talk to. So I figured, let me just share everything that I'm going through. Now, let me introduce to you Katie, who is our producer and co host that's going to take us along this podcast. Her role will be guiding the conversation, offering commentary, and keeping things flowing. Katie, you want to tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah. Hi. I am Katie. I am Steve's daughter. He is the greatest dad, and this has been a crazy roller coaster since we started this and found out about his diagnosis. Like you said, I'm going to keep the conversation going, let you guys know my thoughts being his daughter and going along on this journey with him. And we hope to offer some kind of support and some more information to families also going through this. So thanks for listening. I will start with a question. Why did you want to start Just Diagnosed?
The purpose of starting this podcast is to give real feedback to people so they know if they have liver cancer, what they're going to go through. I have been through a lot these last 2 months after being first diagnosed, and I want to share what I'm actually going through. Now, everyone might be different based on their genes and everything they have, because we're all different. But I'm definitely going to share truthful, honest, all the side effects, everything that I'm going through.
What you can expect to see in this future series and episodes is a lot of info from Steve. He's been in a lot of hospital rooms, a lot of doctor's visits, a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of research online, a lot of Google, which is not great for your health, I can imagine.
Actually, speaking of that, I'd be completely honest. I am not diving into those Facebook groups. I have my awesome daughter here next to me that goes and researches all of that part because there's so many different stories on there. Some are good, some are great, and you just don't know, who's actually telling the truth. There's people want money, different things, and I'm not about that. I just want to share truthfulness of everything that I'm going through.
Exactly. So we hope you can find some insight here. Maybe you're just listening to see a little bit about what he's going through. Maybe you know someone affected by liver cancer. Maybe you know someone who just got a shocking diagnosis and like me, you truly don't know what to expect, what life is going to bring. So we're here to talk about it. So, Steve, Dad, why don't you tell us your story? And I want you to start from the very beginning. So, literally take us through the first pain you had, the thought you had, what even led you to going to the hospital to even find out anything?
Yeah, great. So one thing that I'm finding really weird right now, because I've already had two treatments, is that my voice has changed. To me, I don't even feel like I sound like myself, and that's due to a lot of maybe shortness of breath. But let me bring you back to the beginning. So I am a very active person. I'm 57 years old. I play basketball, hopefully, usually 3 times a week. I am a type 2 diabetic. I am on Ozempic, which is funny because my starting weight during this journey so far was 240, and I have not lost any weight. One day, I was starting to have a pain in my right side, and I shared with my wife that, hey, I think I should probably get this looked at. I don't know if I have a ruptured appendix or maybe I pulled a muscle. And she was like, "Nah, just tough it up. You're a man enough. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm just going to go to the walk-in clinic." So I went to the walk-in clinic. I was there for about an hour. Excuse me. Um, they ran some tests. The doctor came by, felt my sides and everything, and they were like, "Hey, just to be sure, why don't you go to the ER and have them do a CAT scan, just so you can eliminate everything out. And I said, great. So I called my wife and said, hey, I'm going to go over to the hospital and have a CAT scan because they just want to have it checked out just to be safe. So I'm in the hospital for a couple of hours. I do the CAT scan. My wife finally comes up to me into the hospital. And while we're in there, this young doctor, I'd probably say he's in his early 30s, maybe mid 30s, young guy. And he came into the room and he said, hey, I need you to read this piece of paper. I'm like, great, what is it? He goes, I just want to make sure this is you. This is your name, your date of birth, that everything is all correct. And I said, yeah, that's me. And he says, do you mind if I ask your wife if this information is correct? Yeah, go ahead. She's going to tell you the same exact thing. Why would you not believe me? So she goes, nope, that's him. Then it goes, are you sure? We just really want to make sure that we have the right person here, that this is you. And I said, yeah, it's me, not us, it's me. And then the doctor I could see it in his face. And actually, I'm getting a little moved.
Okay. This is very deep and hard to talk about.
It is. So the doctor, his face dropped, and he looked at me and he says, I just don't know how to tell you this. And I really think this is the first time you ever had to share bad news. He said, I just got to let you know you have a huge mass on your liver. I'm like, no, that can't be right. The only thing I'm worried about is diabetes, stroke, and a heart attack. That's all that's in my family. That's all I care about. And he goes, no, he goes, I'm really so sorry. He goes, you have a mass of about 11 centimeters on your liver, and you're really going to probably have to see somebody else about that. And then, right there, my heart dropped. I looked at my wife. It's hard to do. The things that go through your mind as these things happen. The funny thing is, the first thing I thought about were my grandkids. All my kids really haven't had grandparents past the age of 60. And I figured I was going to be there till at least 75. But, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. The doctor then let us be for a few minutes. And that was how I was diagnosed.
Okay, so that was obviously probably the most devastating day. I think that we were all in shock. I knew that my dad was in the ER. Honestly, you could have told me anything, appendix bursting, diabetes, whatever, and I would have believed, but not this. And I think that's probably the most shocking thing when people encounter cancer and are told that this is going to be, part of their story, that it is devastating. And, the fact that his first thought went to his grandkids. I have 2 daughters. One of my brothers has 2 sons. That just speaks to the type of person that Steve is. He is the greatest grandfather, greatest father, a great partner, a great friend. He's so involved in this community. I'm so proud of how he's handled this. I'm so blown away of the strength that he's had to, show up for our kids every single day, to be there for them. And I'm glad that he's getting the chance to share his story with the world, because I think that it's going to be a great one. And it's going to be one with lots and lots of right. So, Dad, after you went to the ER that day, what was the next step? Because obviously the biggest part that we have to think about is, who the hell pays for this? How does insurance work?
Oh my God. And there's some things I could tell you about that.
So start off with, okay, so you're just told you have a mass on your liver. It's 11 centimeters. Is that huge? Like, what is that in the grand scheme of things?
In the grand scheme of things, now that I know everything, so where it is in a place that is inoperable, cannot have a liver transplant, cannot do radiation, and cannot do chemotherapy. And most people think you could just take out your liver and it'll grow back. That is not the case.
No.
Not at all. They can take out a part of your liver, but that's about it. And then mine is too big where there is no surgeon that is willing to operate on a mass this big.
So with the size, you obviously your first step is to what? Call the insurance or do you call a doctor?
Well, the first thing we did was we used Cigna. I have no problem. I'm going to be totally honest about everything. And Cigna actually has been amazing through all of this. They said just because we should go to a policy that's in network so everything is covered. And that's what we've done. We could go to Moffitt, TGH, the Florida Cancer Institute. We decided to go with the Florida Cancer Institute. That's where my brother-in-law, who was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and he had great success, and he is now cancer-free. So we really wanted to see what they were all about.
That's great. So you called Cigna. They referred you to the Florida Cancer Institute. Tell me about your doctor. Who's that?
Oh, my doctor. Yes, if I could say her name, that would be great.
Dr. Choksky?
Dr. Chotsky. Yes, yes. Sorry. Yeah, she's amazing. We looked her up. Great education. I believe she studied at Mount Sinai and has tremendous background on this. And she even shared some stories about people that had masses my size that, they were trying to find some doctors that were willing to do something like that. But in most cases, we should probably, try the first treatment of oh my gosh,
A and B.
A and B
Immunotherapy.
immunotherapy, just to do that. But before all that stuff happened, we did have to go have a PET scan. For those of you who don't know what a PET scan is, that is where they do your whole body to look for hot spots, to see if you have any other spots. That's where they found my other spot, which is my lymph node that I have as well. After that, we also had to do an endoscopy. The reason for the endoscopy was to verify that I had no cuts or anything on the inside going all the way down to my stomach. Because part of the immunotherapy, part B of it, is the drug that keeps the cancer from spreading. If I was to have anything on the inside that was like minor cuts or an ulcer or anything like that, I'd probably die pretty quickly if they gave that medicine to me.
That's terrifying to think about, right? Like you're about to go on this life-saving journey, hopefully kick cancer's ass, and you have to make sure that the rest of your body is in peak performing shape.
Yeah, you do. And what's crazy is going back to the doctor in the ER room. I mean, he was like, after we got through the emotional part of it, he was like, "Man, you're in such great shape. I'm just so shocked that this is you." And even the doctors that I go to at the Florida Cancer Institute, I'm in good shape. My lungs are great, but I'm surprised I haven't coughed or hacked up a storm.
You're doing great. Now that we said it, of course you're going to cough.
Yep, exactly. And then the other thing I do want to share with everybody, which I found very interesting, is the part about making sure with your insurance that you follow what they want you to do to make sure everything gets paid. So I was told as long as I go in therapy, I'm sorry, not in therapy, in network, everything will be covered except for my deductibles and everything. Because already I received bills from the anesthesiologist that was like $800. And I called Cigna, and Cigna said, "Hey, you did the right thing. You went in network. You did not know they were going to use someone out of network. So send us that invoice, and we'll try to negotiate it with them, because it's not your fault. You did everything right by following our procedures, being in network, and all of that."
I think it's really important with the insurance side that people don't get bamboozled. So you definitely have to follow what your care team is telling you. I think you get a patient rep that kind of walks you through that?
Yes. Again, as of right now, I'm praising Cigna. My whole thing can change, 3 or 4 months from now. But I actually have I believe she's an RN, and she was assigned to me because of, my cancer and everything. And we usually have a call every other week. She sees how things are going. She, if there's any issues, any bills not paid, she has me forward them to her. Um, she's been amazing, truly amazing.
Good. That's great. So let's get back to what is going on with you. So you just found out you have this diagnosis. It's shocking. You go to your first couple appointments, they talk about a care plan. And then what do you do, Dad? Because I know what you did that we all advised against, that Mom tried to get out of. What did you do?
Oh yeah, you did something. You got to live life a little bit. And so I went in the doctor's office. So let me go back a little bit. So I was officially diagnosed on, I believe it was December 11th.
Yeah.
It was when I got the letter of what my diagnosis was. However, we had a doctor's appointment on December 23rd. And so we're in the room there, and I asked the doctor, I says, hey, I got a cruise book next week. What are your thoughts? You think I can go? And my wife was like, no, we're not going on that cruise. You can't be around all these people. I'm like, I'll stay in the room the whole time. And the doctor says, hey, as long as you wash your hands a lot, you're newly diagnosed, you're going to be going through a lot. This might be a good time for you to just get some rest and everything else. And, enjoy yourself. And my wife and I looked at each other. My wife actually agreed that, it could be a good time for us just to enjoy ourselves. So fast forward a little bit. We go on a cruise. Everything is great. We're having a great time. It's new. It's a new. For anyone that doesn't know, New Year's Eve cruises are the best cruises to go on. We go on a 5 night cruise. It's been a thing we've been doing for the past few years, and you don't have to worry about drinking, driving, or any of those things. And actually, I don't have to worry about drinking anymore because
At
I'm not
all.
allowed. But it is amazing. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit biased here. We are Royal Caribbean fans. We've been on so many of them. We occasionally will try to go on a different ship with I don't want to put anybody else down, but we've been on them, and oh my gosh, yeah, we will not be going on any other ships. The only other one that we might try might be Virgin in the near future once I beat this. But getting back to the cruise that we were on, when we returned back home, I really thought I was great. I thought I washed my hands left and right everywhere we went. I thought I was doing awesome. And then what do you know? I come get sick as well as my sister-in-law. She got sick as well.
That sucks. Yeah, well, you know how, we find this diagnosis, and of course, they already had this trip booked. We were going to go, but I just had a baby. She wasn't yet 6 months old. So we went on the one the year before with you guys. It was so much
Wasn't that
fun.
great?
It was the best time. We all sat around the dinner table. I had just found out I was pregnant. I mean, I didn't get to drink on that one either. But it was a great time. And so, they were going to do it again. Absolutely recommend a New Year's cruise. The weather was gorgeous. But it's devastating to hear as a kid, or as your daughter. And I know my brother felt the same. All my brothers, they're like, okay, he's gonna go on this cruise, what's gonna happen? Like, you're gonna get sick, there's all these people. And of course we were worried, but we did want you to have some fun, enjoy this moment. So
Actually, can I rewind a little bit?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this back on you. So I think when I was very first diagnosed in the hospital and everything else, I couldn't talk to you guys.
Oh yeah.
I could not talk to you guys. I
No.
mean, all of a sudden now I'm starting to hit me again. But my wife, as gracious as she is, she spoke to all the kids. How was it for you?
It was hard. I mean, I'll rewind to my night getting that call. I got home from work. I have your locations. I don't know if you guys both know that. Mom definitely knows. I know when she tells me she left the house and she's still sitting at home 5 minutes later. But I saw you were at the hospital because they couldn't pick up the girls, so I left early. And that's a side note. My parents pick up my girls 4 days a week. They are such a rock and a help for me. And, it's the biggest thing, having to work until 5 and an hour long drive home. So they picked them up. They couldn't pick them up this day because they were in the ER. And I obviously grabbed the girls from my mom. My mom goes over to the ER. They're sitting there for hours. And I'm just like, how's it going? I'm expecting ruptured appendix, whatever. We got to go take it out. And something felt off when I texted, like what's going on to you guys and no one was answering. And then I remember I called my mom and she answered and she says, I need a minute. And I'm like, why the fuck do you need a minute? Like, who needs a minute? Like, there's no minutes to need. Like, it's just an appendix. And she called me back and she told me what they found. And that was shocking. It was awful. Obviously, the first thought is my dad's 57 years old. Like, that's not fair. That's not real. That doesn't happen. But my mom was a huge rock that night. She called me. She called my brother Michael. Um, she let us know preliminary. Michael and I then immediately call each other. Pretty much that's our thing right after is that we immediately call each other and talk about, you know, what we thought. How is this real? What's going on? And then of course she called my other brothers Matthew and Andrew, and you know I met my dad the next day. Met you guys for lunch. I actually came over that night. Felt like I needed to hug you, but met you guys the next day. And yeah, I remember sitting at lunch and you could not talk about it. It was the craziest thing. It was. It is hard to talk about.
Oh, it's very hard to talk about, especially when it's really new. I mean, as a parent, trying to like, I can't even turn my side to you right now.
I'll look away.
As a parent, the last thing you do is want to tell your kids bad news, and it's just tough. But yeah, it's just tough.
I think it comes down to having a really good partner and, being and going through life with someone in sickness and in health. That is such a true thing. There are things that will rock your world and days that will seem hard. And this is something my parents have always shared with me. Like, this is not the tough stuff, like, having an argument over what to eat for dinner that night or, whatever it is. Who's not doing the dishes? Who's not taking out the trash? Who did more? That is not the hard stuff. The hard stuff is shit like this.
Yeah, and gonna be completely honest with you all, it turns your world upside down. I mean, it really changes the way you think. Granted, at that time I wasn't officially diagnosed, but
We knew it
uh,
was.
we knew it was bad, and it was yeah. It's when it comes to your work, I don't know with everybody out there, everybody has different jobs, what they do. People rely on a lot of people. Um, so yeah, it really could shake up your world pretty bad, but you do have to try to figure out a way to fight and stay focused.
Let's talk for a minute about the people that do rely on you. There's a lot of them. You have your own business
Yes, they do. Uh,
and you employ quite a few people out
yeah,
there and you volunteer.
yep. So a little bit about my background and work history is I work with people with disabilities, people that have autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, intellectual disabilities. We have 4 centers that we work with, and I love these students, and I love my staff. I got to knock on wood. I have a great staff. Um, the hardest part, fast forwarded a little bit, is I really haven't been to my centers within the last month, only because I really can't go to them. I can't be around people that are sick, and this is the high time where people tend to get sick and stuff. But you got to fight through some of those things because people rely on paychecks. The students love coming to the program. I mean, we do a lot for them. I don't say we do a lot for them. We do a lot that they have choices of what
Like
they could do.
activities. Yeah.
Activities, yeah.
Yeah.
Like about a month ago, the Tampa Bay Lightning invited us to a private practice, which was amazing. So students got to choose if they wanted to go. Also, over the summer with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camps, I coach Special Olympics basketball. We do Special Olympics bowling. We do beach cleanup. We do all kinds of things that these students love to do. And most of these students that we have will probably not get jobs. So we want to have them a fulfilled quality of life so they feel like they're part of the community. And that is really huge to me.
And I think that also speaks to the community that's behind you. I mean, not only with the people that you work with, the people you volunteer with, but you play in a men's basketball league and you have my entire life.
Oh, yeah. One of my passions is basketball. I have a great bunch of guys that I play with 3 times a week. It's usually at one of the 3 different high schools that we usually switch around from, and great bunch of guys. The camaraderie of us playing, the trash talking. We can't scream at our wives or yell at our wives, but when we're on the court, we could put each other down and not have to worry. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And as you get older, you need to have these, groups that you could, just release some stress with.
So so did you tell, your community, your friends, your people?
I shared with my director what was going on. We eventually shared with the staff, but we haven't told all the students or anything because I think some of them would take it pretty hard. In regards to, I have no problem sharing with anyone that I have liver and lymph nodes cancer stage 4, because if I could find somebody out there that has this, I would love that, and it's been through it already. I would love to talk to them. Just like if any of you all out there become it, DM me. I would love to talk to you, share with you what I'm going through. I share with all my basketball guys. We have this Group Me app. I couldn't talk to everyone all together, but I made a post in there, and no one could believe it. I mean, it's just shocking. I mean, I'm a perfectly healthy guy, and like I told you all earlier, my only concerns were diabetes, stroke, and a heart attack. Nowhere was I ever thinking about cancer in my life at all. I mean, being a part of my life.
And I would say you've even like managed diabetes like a long time. You're on top of it. You're not someone who's just like let it go, like
No.
whatever. Like you've had the thing in your arm forever. You're watching your sugar. Like
I'd say,
he likes the streets. He likes the streets. But I mean, you go to the doctor. You're not someone who's avoided it for years.
no, I haven't never avoided a doctor. I think, there are good things out there, good drugs out there to help. Oh, just to give everyone, being upfront, my A1C is 7.7 right now. That's a little high. I'd like to be under 7. That's what my doctor wants me, but it is a little high. But I do try to manage it. I'm considered a type 2 diabetic. I do try to manage it with the things I eat, but now that I've had cancer, I really haven't eaten any sweets, alcohol, nothing.
I mean, you look tiny.
Well, if you want to, I don't know if you want to jump this
Yeah.
far forward, but when I started, when I was first diagnosed, my weight was 240 pounds. And I was on Ozempic then. And I was on Ozempic for about 6 months. And on Ozempic, I haven't lost any weight, which is crazy. However, it did help bring my A1C down. My A1C was, I think it was like at 9. And it brought it down to right around, my first one was like 7.1. However, now that I've actually stopped the Ozempic, and I'm being perfectly honest, while being on Ozempic and having liver cancer, it's miserable. I mean, miserable. The stomach, everything, it's just horrible. So I decided that I'm going to try to eat healthier. And out of all the drugs that I'm on for diabetes, I did stop taking Ozempic about a month ago. And that was probably against my doctor's wishes. God forbid something happens to me some 6 months from now. I don't want to be miserable this 6 months
Right.
through these treatments, and then it's just bad. I still want to have some sort of quality of life while I'm doing this. But right now, which is crazy, I did my weight yesterday, and I'm 212 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, as you can see, I look like a bone. My stomach is still there, but I think I lost a lot of bone mass. I think I lost a lot of water weight. But I'm not as nauseous anymore with not being on Ozempic. Crazy, I stopped it, and look, I lost all this weight.
That's crazy.
I'm sure it's from the cancer, though. I don't recommend getting cancer.
So let's take it down to the science. So what I know, and I'm the one who's in these crazy Facebook groups looking for semblances of hope, positive stories. I like to send you those when I see someone like, oh, I've been 2 years cancer free, whatever. I've learned a lot about the different treatments. And so let's talk about what you're actually doing. You're on immunotherapy. You're doing the route A and B, which is actually called.
It's actually the name brand is called Tecentric. And drug A is, yeah, I'm gonna mess this up, but it's worth it. It's adasulzumab, and B is bevacizumab.
We'll put those up on the screen.
We'll put them up on the screen, but the brand name is considered Tecentriq. They're really this drug is really highly regarded for immunotherapy and for treatment with cancer. I mean, there's been cases with people with brain cancer, and they've done this, and they've actually got to live several more years. So, a couple more things. I don't want to bore everybody, but just so to give you the full picture of what I'm on, I do take metformin for my diabetes. I take valsartan. I take rosuvastatin, and I take, oh my God, enlopadine. Those are for because my parents died so young of heart attacks and strokes. I tried to get an early jump on it by going to my cardiologist, and they have these on me. I take these meds precautionary just to help me out as I go along. I'm also on Tresiba, and then some of the other drugs I'm on as needed now that I've been diagnosed with cancer. One is like a hydrocortisone. It's a pill. I look like I've been attacked by Freddy Krueger, to be honest with you. It's been 2 months now, and if you look at my arms and legs, I itch like a bitch. It's not even funny. The amount of itching, and if you Google it, you'll find out that itching is a major part of liver cancer. So I'm on these meds that try to help the itching. Then they also have me on some. Again, I love butchering these words or these drugs. So, but like my daughter said, she'll put them up on the screen. Benzonate, and that's to help as a cough because my lungs are. I go to the doctor, the cancer doctor. They check my lungs. They're like, "Man, your lungs are great. What are you talking about?" But because of where the mass is on my liver, it's pushing against my diaphragm. So I have a lot of coughing, and it is horrible, and eventually it gets a little painful sometimes.
Yeah.
And then they also have me on a nausea medication. As we get further along, a couple more podcasts, we'll talk about the side effects.
Awesome. Yeah, Zofran saves lives. It's my favorite thing. Okay, so those are the meds you're on. From what I know, you've done 2 rounds of A and B. So he goes every 3 weeks, right?
Yep, every 3 weeks I go in for an immunotherapy treatment. What's crazy? I guess I really knew nothing about cancer.
Right.
When I hear chemotherapy and all these different things, I'm thinking they're doing like a radiation thing into your body or
Putting you in a tube.
putting you in a tube, chemotherapy, man, I can't even, yeah, my mind didn't know really what that stuff was. But now that I'm educated, with the immunotherapy, it's similar to the chemotherapy, is you go for treatment and you go to like I said, I go to the Florida Cancer Institute. When I go there, I'm there for about 3 hours. They will hook me up to a machine, and it's just like having IVs going through your body for about 2.5 hours. And then good to bring a blanket because these meds are cold, even though they're going through your veins, they are cold and your body gets really cold up there.
So talk to me about symptoms they told you to expect. This like with chemo, I know there's hair loss. Obviously weight loss is a huge thing, suppressed appetite. What do you got?
I have, well, funny thing is, from the first treatment to this treatment, the side effects have been crazy.
Yeah.
They're different. I don't know why, but during the first one, night sweats. Oh my gosh. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my bed would be soaked. I'd have to go get a towel to come back to lay on the towel. Just horrible. Fevers. Random fevers from 101 to about 102.6 all the time. Some you might feel great during the day, and for me, for some reason, like at 6, 7 o'clock at night, I'd break out with a fever of 102, and then I'm like down for the count. What else? I'm sorry.
That's why we're recording this in the morning. We tried to record this podcast like at least 5 times. I told Dad I wanted to do this around Christmas, and it's February 20th. So we've gotten here, but it's a long road, and I think we know more now than we
Yeah.
did then. So
Yep.
definitely good to have delayed. And one of the things that I've noticed from you is like definitely exhaustion. I mean, it's crazy to see your dad as like this larger than life, and I'll tear up at this point, but like this larger than life person who has always been there, has always been the strongest person I know. This man built me a bed when I moved back from Germany in 2017 with his bare hands, like a beautiful bed of wood. When I was younger and little, he made me a freaking stage in my room so I could dance and sing on it because I wanted to.
That was a good stage
That was a
too.
great stage. It held me, it held all my friends. Like, I mean, when I talk about my dad being the best guy, he is larger than life for me. So to see you
Not
have,
be able to carry Kiki on in a
yeah,
car seat, that's tough.
that is tough. I mean, to walk, and be tired going places, to see you 40 pounds less. Dad, I've never in my life seen you this skinny. Um, it's it's devastating. It's hard. It's shocking. And all I want to do is support you, and all I want to do is make you feel better. So, tell me about probably your worst symptom.
Worst symptom right now is fatigue. Um, funny thing is, I have two brothers and a sister, and I sent my sister, who her husband was the one that had stage 4 lung cancer. They even told him to get all his affairs in order because he wasn't going to make it. And um, I'm trying to stop saying so I do apologize
It's
about
okay.
that. But with the text that I sent the other day, I was like, "Hey, how did John work during while he was going through all these treatments?"
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, "Man, I feel like a wimp because I walk 2 feet and I'm out of breath."
Yeah.
Thank God she sent back a text and said, "No, he was out of it for about 6 months.
Hmm.
He couldn't do anything." The shortness of breath is tough. The fatigue is tough. The itching is horrible. I went through a point with vomiting
Yeah.
was one of them. Nauseousness all the time. So, I mean, I guess it depends what kind of cancer you have, but what I have is nauseous all the time. The fevers, the night sweats, loss of bone mass. No, oh my gosh, this is worse. Not sleeping at night. I'd probably say for the past, since I've had these treatments now, I pee every night, exactly every hour and a half. I got to get up and go pee. Now, beforehand, I was diagnosed with just my regular diabetes. I would just get up once a night to go pee. No big deal. I can go back to sleep. Now I go pee, and then an hour and a half later, I got to go pee. And then I got to go pee. And then but I'm just wide awake. And
Yeah.
now that I have cancer, I know how you ladies feel when you start,
When you
you
have a
know,
baby, when you're pregnant.
yeah. Or not even just that. This is going to sound, I was listening to a comedian the other day. I think it was a lady comedian. And she was talking about when she goes to bed, all the things she's thinking of
Oh,
that she has to get done,
yeah.
all the different things that, she wants to do, everything that their mind just goes zip, 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 zip. Me, I used to go to bed
That's
30,
a
30 seconds. I'm out for the whole night.
yeah.
And it was great. Now when I go to bed and then I after the first pee, my gosh, I'm thinking about all the things at work that need to get done, um, the grandkids, just everything in general. It's just hard. I mean, then I'm just wired all night long,
Yeah.
and then I'm up all day too.
Yeah. I think I actually didn't know how much men are able to just go to sleep until my husband and I were talking, and he was like, "What are you laying there thinking about?" And I'm like, the lunches for the next day, my existential crisis I'm having at 1 o'clock in the morning. What am I going to do with my life? How are my kids going to grow up? Do they love me? Do they appreciate what I'm doing for them? What's going on with my dad? What's going on with my mom? How are my brothers? I mean, I just run through everything now.
Yeah. And then one thing that I do want to share, um, now that, again, fast forwarding a little bit here, but my wife has been amazing through this.
She's a good one.
Oh, I'm going to start crying again.
It's okay.
Uh, I mean, she has truly been a godsend.
Through sickness and in health, right?
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes when you have cancer, you sometimes have a negative look on life.
Sure.
You just get these things. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. But she has been amazing through everything she does. I mean, I just can't say enough. All the different things that she does to help to make sure I'm comfortable. Um, just I love her. That's all I could say.
She's a good one.
Yep.
We. So, Steve, we're gonna wrap up our first podcast. I think it went well, but we're going to do a little round of Would You Rather. So I'm going to ask you the questions and you tell me what you pick.
Sounds good.
Would you rather have unlimited first class plane tickets or never have to pay for food at restaurants again?
Unlimited first class. There
The
comes my
cough.
cough.
The cough came.
I was doing so good.
You were.
I want to apologize. I didn't mean to cough in everybody's ear. I would like unlimited first class plane tickets
Where would you go?
all over the world. There's not a place I would not go.
You know where you want to go first?
Where would I want to go first? What's that place where they film Survivor?
Oh, I don't
Is
know.
it
I don't watch
Tahiti?
that. Tahiti, probably.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to go somewhere tropical?
Somewhere very really, or Iceland would be fine. Somewhere where it's not too hot, but I want to go see. When you like when I watch Survivor, and I look and they show you like millions and millions of stars.
Yeah.
I go in my backyard, I see shit.
Yeah, it's nothing.
There's like 4 stars if you could find them. So I really want to go somewhere where I can see all those stars.
That's awesome. Now, would you rather always have to say exactly what you're thinking or never be able to speak again? This one's hard because you're probably having a lot of thoughts these days.
So, would I rather have to say exact? Yeah, I wouldn't mind saying exactly what I'm thinking.
Always?
I think I could do that.
Okay, that's what we have this podcast for then.
I think I could do that. I might offend a few people,
That's okay.
but I won't offend as many people as my brother.
We're not famous enough to get canceled.
There you go.
Okay, so this one will make me cry. But would you rather have a rewind button or a fast forward button for your life, but you can only use it once?
That is honestly, that's a tough one.
Right. Would you rather fast forward for right now?
But the reason why is because if you rewind your button, I'm guessing
know?
you can't get to change things, can
I
you?
don't know. I mean, I didn't make the rules.
That's a tough one.
Right?
Rewind button or go fast forward. You know what? I think I'd like to go fast forward 6 months.
Yeah, see where we're at.
See where we're at.
I think it's a good one. Would you rather be followed by a theme song that plays every time you enter a room or have sound effects accompany your every movement?
You know what's funny?
What?
My mind's a little bit different than everybody else's.
Same.
So, to me, I can't figure out why the real world doesn't have background music.
It's crazy.
Right?
I've inherited this from you. Kelly's got it.
I mean, what if you're just walking around? Why can't there be background music just playing up in the air?
We are constantly narrating through song, you and I, and making up incorrect words. And I am always thinking about like the soundtrack that's playing in my head as we're doing things.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I wish I could play music. I wish I could sing.
Same.
I wish I could do all those things.
Hence the stage.
But yeah, I would like a theme song that plays every time I enter into a room.
I could not imagine what that would be during different moments. There's been so many moments throughout our lives where I just wish that there was something like, okay, so if you had to think, you're in that hospital room, this man's just come to tell you that you have cancer. What song's playing?
Oh my God, what song is playing? There are times I get in my mind where I'll just be sitting there and I listen to the Tim McGraw song.
Yeah.
And I'll play it. I'm like, Steve, why the hell are you playing this song? It's about dying, it's about jumping out of airplanes. It's about going bullfighting and doing all these different things before you die. And I cry every time. I will never play that song in front of anybody because it's hard. But yeah, I would probably say that was a song.
Yeah, and I think that
Live like you were dying.
Live like you were dying. It's important. It's important to live that way. I think that as the conversations my husband and I have now are like, what are we doing to live our best lives in the fact of like a life of service, a life of caring for others, a life of doing the most for our children, a life of being a better person. Like I look at your life and I see a long life of so much good that you've done. Like you're amazing. You're the best dad. You're the best grandpa.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, You want to tell me a piece of wisdom that you've had throughout all of this? A final thought for our first episode that you can share with our listeners?
I wish you would have given me some time or gave me that question so I
I
could.
did. I
I
shared this
oh,
brief in
did you
advance.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. I must have missed that one.
It's okay. It doesn't have to be that profound, but like after going through this entire journey so far.
And this is going to sound a little cliche, but everyone tells you to stay positive. That's going to make a big difference, and I would have to agree with that. During this process, staying positive, keeping the faith, and just knowing, keep telling myself I'm going to beat the shit out of this thing, and that everything is going to be all right. Hey, that could be another song.
Every little
Everything
thing
gonna be
is
all
gonna
right.
be all right.
Yep. So that's the way I feel. I hope I'm right, and that's why I'm staying positive with that.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We hope that you've enjoyed our conversations, that you've learned a little bit about what life with liver cancer stage 4 looks like. I hope you've gotten to know a little bit about my dad, a little bit about me, and how we are handling this journey. We're going to be bringing you these episodes, hopefully weekly, but we'll keep you posted, and we're excited to see what's to come.
Yes, and thank you, listeners. I hope you tune in for as many as that we can put out, and subscribe and leave us a review. Or if you have any specific questions about, I can only talk about liver cancer and lymph node cancer. So if you have questions that you want to know from me, I'll be more than happy to call you. I'll be more than happy to DM you back, whatever it is. Please let us know.
Yeah, follow us Just Diagnosed on Instagram, and follow Steve on TikTok and Instagram at...
Oh, you know what?
What's your handle?
Well, you know what? We didn't share with them my diabetic Steve. They get to watch those funny videos.
Yeah, so follow my dad on Instagram at diabetic.steve or diabeticsteve on TikTok. He makes really funny reels. You should definitely follow him.
Well, the worst part, not the worst part, we just started doing that. And then what do you know, after just doing, I think, about 10 or 12 of them, that's when I got diagnosed.
Yeah, they were blowing up. You were doing great.
Yeah, I was pretty proud. One of them got like almost 2,000 views. I was pretty excited about that.
All right, let's go ahead and give him 1 million so he feels like he's got something going on, guys. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you all.